Right. Well, thanks for joining in, folks. The purpose of today's session was to have a conversation about prioritization. Um, c- uh, is it just something that we should use tactically to decide which are our best bets, or is it something that we can use more systematically to improve our path from strategy to delivery? And can in fact we use prioritization as the means to engage our organizations to avoid directly confronting any issues we might see with strategy delivery and be very pragmatic about using prioritization as a means to an end, as opposed to butting heads with strategic people about general problems with strategy to delivery. Darren's just managed to log on. If someone
Admitted.
Fantastic. Right. So this is what we're going to do. So this is going to be a structured discussion. So we've got a number of folks who have very kindly said they would lead a section. I'll introduce folks in a second. But the idea is that we're going to have some punchy little blocks of discussion. Each little block of discussion will be outlined by the section lead. Alex will offer a challenge question just to get the ball rolling, to which our lead will respond. And then basically it's open to discuss. So each slot has got 16 minutes in which we can present a challenge, respond, and discuss. Um, we could talk for hours, but we just want it to make it nice and punchy. We've got five of these that we're going to go through. Alex, I hope will be very kindly playing devil's advocate across each of them. And once we've gone through this session, well, we'll review the recording, and just to let everyone know, I'm turned on record for this. We'll review the recording. We'll write up what's been discussed and what's been concluded, and then we'll share it so everyone can have it. These are the topics that we're going to go into. I'm going to briefly introduce the case for using prioritization as the stalking horse, if you like, to improve strategy delivery. Kiran's going to talk about the structural challenge that we face with prioritization at various levels, which is going to be interesting and hopefully offer us a conclusion that will inspire us a bit more. Veronica will, I guess, more than just talk to us about how the PMO can get out of the reporting box, but what's the PMO perspective on prioritization, tactically and strategically. David, who I've spoken to and presented with for many years now, is a strategist. He's written his own book, Strategy Journeys. David, I've got a copy. I think I've reviewed it, and hopefully will give us the strategist perspective of this. And Dan is from Transparent Choice. Transparent Choice have some software to help us prioritize. But Dan's going to very kindly offer us the practitioner viewpoint, some examples of, or an example of what people do with respect to prioritization, and so we can discuss how tactical or strategic that is. And I'll try and wrap up conclusions and next steps at the end of it. So I'm going to stick on the timer so that I don't waffle on for too long, for 10 minutes, bosh, and I will dig into my bit. So making the case for starting with prioritization to get us moving. Right, bit of background. This is probably not new to people, but strategy delivery is complex. Our organizations face opportunities, threats, imperatives, and goals. And we typically have a periodic strategic process which evaluates what we're being faced with and comes up with strategic responses to those challenges. And we have the task of cascading that through our organizations. Um, the problem is this is complex. It's not easy to get those expectations cascaded to spread down through every level. It's just difficult. And not only is it complex, but the difficulty's been documented. there are numbers of consulting and professional organisations that explain to us how difficult strategy to deliver is. 82% of Fortune 500 CEOs feel their organisation is effective at strategic planning. There's one example from Forbes magazine. So basically, how do we get this to be addressed? Well, the thing is, there's quite a bit to address. In a conference we did with the APM, the APM's Governance Interest Network, a little while ago, we asked over 400 people some questions. Does your organisation have clear purpose, vision, and strategy? And I summarised quite a bit, but most people said not really. Does your organisation have a clear cascade of objectives to sub-objectives? And the majority said that they lack clarity and understanding. In your organisations, are objectives prioritised? There were multiple issues reported, and objectives themselves weren't particularly always prioritised. Do your organisation's objectives include key results to get a measure of progress? Most indicate a lack of clarity with that, and it's all done manually if it's done at all. And lastly, does your organisation have a technology backbone for the objectives, or is your strategic information model a cloud of objectives? And 80% said no, or they sort of have some a technology backbone. What we're saying here, basically, and there's the details I can share with you, is that these are matters that are difficult to approach. Do we really want to be challenging people about their lack of clarity in strategy delivery, or the ineffectiveness of their cascade, or their lack of ability to prioritise, or the failure to establish measures, or the lack of technology backbone? This is difficult to approach. So the proposition here today for this group is instead of confronting our organization's strategy implementation capability, can we use prioritization, a practical task we all have to do, prioritization of our investments and initiatives? Can we use that as the pragmatic Trojan horse to help us tease out the issues we've discussed on the previous slide, the clarity, the cascade, objective cascade, and so on and so forth? Can we actually engage your organisation through the act of prioritising to understand our current state, to tease out the issues, get comfort that we appreciate the gaps, and build trust to progress into solving the wider and more systemic issues? That's the question. And I'll pause there. Does anyone have a brief comment that they would like to stir in at this moment briefly before I move on to elaborate further?
If the priorities are changing on a fairly frequent basis, so for example, quarterly, does this therefore cause so much chaos in these organizations they don't really bother with any formal cascade?
Well, we could speculate. I mean, the inability to reprioritize. I guess if we're doing it manually, we might think that it's a lot of hard work to prioritize. So we don't really want to be doing it more than once a year. But that's not going to help us be agile, is it?
Oh
Um,
no.
So that's and there's plenty of stuff to help us do the active prioritization, but I think Kiran will speak about this in a bit. There's a little bit more to it than just coming up with a scoring method. So if that's the proposition, what's the roadmap I'm suggesting? I'm suggesting that organisations that would like to improve their connection of strategy to delivery, or those in whatever role they're in, whether they're heads of practice for project management, whether they're heads of PMOs, strategy heads, governance leads, whatever they are, that let's use prioritization as the means to tactically engage your organisation and start to tease out what the strategy is that's driving that. Let's force the prioritization and get clearer on the strategic backbone behind it. Once we've got that prioritization done and we've progressed and we've got a way to decide on what work we're going to do, let's make better the connection of strategy to delivery. Let's make sure we have a clear picture that defines, helps us understand purpose, vision, strategy, and how that connects with our prioritization and delivery capability. Let's then put the means in place to help us measure that going forwards and formalize the use of objectives, key results, and benefits to keep us all coordinated and hooked up. And then perhaps look at prioritization going beyond just projects and programs into the organization as a whole. Let's look across all that we have to choose between, not just the projects and programs that we're looking at. Again, I think that's my piece. We've got a few minutes left if anyone wants to comment or ask any questions at this moment. What do you think, folks?
I'm interested to see what everybody else's input is going to be. We all agree that there's a problem. It's how do we get a workable solution that is pragmatic?
Has anyone got some instant thoughts which suggest this is total madness, or is it on the face of it look interesting? Or I guess there are speakers going to talk about their bit, so they'll have a part of the answer ready. But anyone got any observations as to what this is
Yep.
about? Or
From my side,
hi, Gregor.
experiences, I I am having challenges about this all the time with clients and for also with former employees. I think this is the big deal, and Dan will talk about it and bring us clear solution. But then again, I think it's not just about the approach and the methodology and whatever tools we use. It's about mindset. It's about awareness. And maybe the biggest challenge is that usually leadership is feeling that they are handling priorities. They having, business meetings, CEO suite meetings, and they are handling priorities. But then again, these priorities are not transferred to the execution levels in the right manner, and there's a confusion. Everything is priority number one, and so and everything is changing. So, end of the day, leadership thinks that they are clear on priorities, but since they leave the conference room about I don't know weekly meetings or so, they all forget about priorities and they are in their own rush hour in each sector, department, business, whatever they are doing, and somehow the priorities are lost, I would say. So it's not just about priorities, it's about translating and transforming and providing to the fingers of the organization how to create this focus to the people so they stick to the priorities.
Well, yeah, it's that turning the strategy into that effective cascade, isn't it?
Yeah,
Into
yeah,
into items that people can own and be accountable for, and that we can
exactly.
then start deploying resource against. And I guess we've got that challenge of prioritizing things which are to do with running a business, making innovations to how we operate, which may be tactical projects, as well as addressing the mission critical objectives.